Hey everyone, how's it going? Really excited, guys, to see you guys here. Today's topic on this webinar is going to be your 2024 digital marketing plan. So really what this is about is looking at the upcoming year, figuring out what we want to do in our business to really make it grow. And really it's kind of goes upon, setting those goals and also paving the way to get to those goals, right? Because we can make an absurd goal, but if we don't actually have a pathway to get there, then it's not really going to go anywhere, right? So that's what this webinar is about. It's really about, looking, maybe in the past, see what we did, kind of come back to the table, figure out what our goals are for the upcoming year, and then really budgeting for those goals, making that stuff happen, right? So I'm gonna get started right away. I know we got a few people still hopping on the call here, but as we go, I'll go ahead and share my screen and share all the notes that I have for you today. And I'm really excited to get started with this one. So let's see if I can get this shared screen thing going. Desktop. Ooh. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen if I'm not mistaken here. Try to change my view on my computer. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so this is the 2024 digital marketing plan. So what we're going to do today, this is kind of the overview. We're going to go ahead and set those goals, set those targets for the year. We're going to look at our KPIs really, and come up how to track these KPIs, and also map out a plan. That's going to be more so on our budget, what our marketing budget is, and the channels we are going to use to accomplish those goals. And then we'll go over some trends that are happening in the market as far as digital marketing and also the aviation industry as a whole. And this should hopefully set you up for massive success in 2024 and beyond. So the first topic really is setting clear goals. It's where the whole premise of this webinar comes from is setting goals. If we don't set goals, it's our success relies on the goals we set. Everything else that we don't do is commentary. It's nonsense. People will talk about the things they want to do, but unless you actually make it a goal, you're not going to have that puzzle piece to really get there. So I kind of want to bring up a picture of a boat. I know we're in the aviation industry, but sail with me for a minute here. And when you think about a boat in the ocean, it can go anywhere really. I mean, like if you have a boat and then the ocean decides to go, let's say to the west or the east, that boat will kind of follow the waves of the ocean. And same thing with our business. If we're just stranded out in the ocean, we don't really have any clear goals, that your boat will just sail wherever. So sometimes the ocean might say, hey, this your business is going to be worth $2 million this year. That's great, but then sometimes the ocean says, okay, well, if maybe your business is not going to be worth as much, you're not going to have a good year, and that's just life. However, when we have clear goals, that's really putting wind in our sail. It's really targeting us to a specific place to go to, and it really helps with doing that. Got someone in here. Hello, we got someone joining. So we were just talking about goals and also how having clear goals is really how to set yourself for success. So I know it's only a few people in the room, but what I want us to take a look at is our current snapshot of where we are. So where we are in our business, whether we're in the marketing industry or we're a flight school or whatever type of business we are, these can all kind of apply, right? So it's really taking a current snapshot of where we are. So that includes your monthly revenue. For flight schools, it's going to be the number of active students during the month, and also kind of diving more in there, another key metric we can measure is how much does each student we have in our flight school, how much they spend. Some other fun ones here too is average conversion. So let's say we have 100 leads coming in through our website, through our marketing. Is our front desk able to convert every single person? Unless you guys are an expert salesperson, probably not. Typically you're going to see around 10% to 30%. If they're really good, 50%. But I usually think it's around 20% is a pretty safe number for your conversion rate. And the number of aircraft, I think a lot of flight school owners really pride themselves in the number of aircraft they have. Each aircraft is also, a revenue generator. So how much aircraft we have in our fleet really determines where we are as a business and as a whole. So, if we have 3 planes per in our fleet, average plane is probably bringing in 150K. Well, we can say that, maybe this business is making about 450K with those 3 aircraft. Now, if your goal is to get to say 10 aircraft or 20 different planes, then obviously these numbers change around, right? And it's really important that we kind of go over our current snapshot because that really sets us up for, what our long-term vision is. So we'll take a few minutes here to think about our business. Where do we want to be in our business as far as our annual revenue? Do we want it to be, let's say $2 million a year? Do we want it to be 1 million? Maybe we haven't gotten to the $1 million mark. Maybe we're just trying to get 750,000. How much aircraft does that entail? Does that mean we're gonna have five planes on the fleet? Does that mean we have 100 students, 50 students, 50 active students? And I think the biggest part that really solidifies these goals is understanding the why. It's like, why is this our goal? So if our goal is to, let's say, break $1 million in our flight school, and we want to have 5 planes with about 100 students, why is that important? Why do we want to do this? And I think you write down a piece of paper because you're going to come back to that. You're going to come back to that why, because that's what's going to have. That's what's going to drive your business. There's no reason if you don't have a strong why, then why are you even in business, right? So, okay, give you guys a few minutes to think about these numbers for a bit. And the reason why we bring, this current snapshot up and also the long-term vision up is because we're actually going to plug these numbers into a worksheet. So I'm going to share this with the chat. And there's 2 different types of webinars out there. You have the one where you kind of sit back and listen, and another one's where you participate and you kind of have fun with it, right? So we're going to try and make this interactive. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And you should be able to, if my screen's still sharing, should be able to just paste that into Google. I'm going to do it in a incognito window. So you should be able to see it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go under File and then make a copy. So as long as you're signed in on Google, you should be able to make a copy in your own drive. And then you can play around with these numbers with me and kind of see what 2024 entails. So I want to go back to what our long-term vision is. So not just, this is for 2025, but in our current snapshot, somewhere in 2024 is going to be where we want to set our goal for the upcoming year. So let's say, this is a hypothetical here. We want to break, let's say $1 million for our flight school. I did that right? It's $1 million. So in order to get to this target, it does some math in here, it does some Excel math in here, and we have to be realistic with our goals, right? So if we want $1 million for our business, we want to make sure that our monthly revenue is going to be that divided by 12. So in this case, it's about $83,000. And then you want to look at also how much does your average student spend each month? How much is so it depends depending on your industry. For flight schools, each student is going to pay X amount of money, right? So depending on how your programs are set up, this number might be different. So I kind of put some notes in here. If the student's flying, roughly once per week, they're probably going to spend over the course of a month about $1,000. And I think that's where a lot of flexible recreational type flight schools kind of hover around. Most students fly about once, twice a week. But then you have other programs that are out there too, like ATP is a really good example of those flight schools where you have students that are on an accelerated program. They're flying 5 times a week, if not more. And then that student is now worth $5,000 a month to that flight school. So I think on average, we'll put $2,000. It's a little high for just a generic recreational school, but with that, you do some math here. It divides it by the monthly goal. So if you want to make $1 million in your flight school, and each student is flying about twice, 3 times a week per month, then that really equates to about 40 students. Having 40 students in our flight school would really get us to that goal. Now this number fluctuates because the flight training industry is kind of funny. Like they might spend $1,000, or they might spend X amount, say a couple $1,000 this month, but then maybe they have some financial issues at home, personal issues, or they don't have the skills to continue training, and that number might drop significantly the next month because they don't fly as much. So it's just some things to consider. I mean, if your flight school is doing good and each student flies multiple times a week, I'd say 2,000 is a good number to hit for each student. This is also kind of the next section here is number of leads required to hit target. So if we wanted to get 42 students in our active student roster, how many leads per month do we actually need in this case? So this really goes to your conversion rate. If you have a stellar front desk person, they answer the phone with a smile on their face, and they just have a really good conversion rate, let's say 50%. Well, you're not going to need as many leads. You're only going to need about 80 leads to convert to 40 students, right? On the other hand, if say you're getting a lot of leads, but you're not really seeing that good conversion, and you have, let's say, only a 10% conversion rate, your needs are going to be a lot more significant. You're going to need at least 400 leads in order to reach this mark. So it really depends on the front desk performance and also how well you're marketing your business online. That way, when you do get a lead, they're more warmer, they're more able to convert. So I'd say 20% is a really good rate for people. So with that, the next kind of section here is not formatted the best way, is the average costs per lead. So you're able to get that KPI with the amount of marketing spend that you've had in the past, and then you're able to figure out. So if I spend, let's say, $10,000 and I got 100 leads, then each lead's $1,000, right? And that's rough back of the napkin math here, but what I've seen in the industry is for less densely populated areas, this cost per lead is actually relatively low. It's about $20 to $50 per lead. Now, with more urban metropolitan areas, like for example, we have a school in Miami, their cost per lead is almost like $80, I think, $80, $100. And it's depending on, how the area is. And say we're marketing in New York, that number is going to be very similar, around that $100 mark. So let's say it's $100 per lead. Well, to get those 200 leads and per month to reach this target, that really goes down to about $20,000 if it costs that much per lead. Obviously, let's say it's a lower amount. Let's say we're in a less populated area. The cost per click on Google's less. There's a higher distribution of population. You might only need to spend $4,000 a month on. So your needs will vary depending on the cost per lead, and the cost per lead really depends on what vehicles you're using, what strategies you're employing online. and also the population of where you're at. So we'll keep it at $50. But this really gives you a good picture of just overall picture of where to start your marketing at. And I think it's a great start. And we actually dive in a little deeper in the spreadsheet over here, which is the next section. It's the marketing budget planner. So this compiles your numbers from the previous slide or previous sheet, and it brings it all over in here. So we're still going the same example with this $1 million flight school. How much do we want to spend on our marketing budget? I think is the next big question. Very conservative businesses, they might only spend 5% of their marketing budget. However, more aggressive might go all the way to 12, 20%. For a new flight school that hasn't been very established, I'd recommend 10 to 20%. If they've already been established, they have a great organic presence on the internet, they might not need to spend this much in order to get this revenue. So it's really, this is a great tool for businesses to use as far as their budgets goes. I think 12% is a pretty healthy number. And then that really dives into each month, right? So how much you're spending online, how much you're spending offline, and then to repeat business. So this might be postcards, this might be mailers, even barbecues, events, things happening things that are happening in your flight school business. Not everything's online, right? So there's going to be some significant amount of budget that you need to allocate for that. So if you have, let's say, an event, there's going to be catering, there's going to be or barbecue. Someone's got to buy that stuff, and where's that going to come out of? It's going to come out of your marketing budget. So yeah, for bigger businesses, the online marketing actually might decrease, and this offline and repeat business budget might increase in its place. However, for a newer flight school or smaller business, they might not have much stuff that's going on. They might not have events. They might not have repeat customers to send postcards to. So this number might go down to 5%. This number might go down to 10. This is going to be really high at 85%. So at $1 million, for your projected revenue, if you want to spend 12% of that on marketing, that's $100,000 total for the entire year. And really, it breaks it down by each month as far as how much we should be spending at each channel, whether it's offline, repeat business, or online marketing. We're going to take this one column because everyone has their own ideas as far as offline marketing, whether it's billboards, radio, TV, other things like that. We are a digital marketing agency, so we're going to focus on this online marketing portion. And from here, we can kind of see where we can divvy out our spend. So these are the main marketing channels in flight schools or in digital marketing in general. I'll make this a little bigger. So the first kind of marketing channel we have is your organic SEO. So that stands for search engine optimization. That's really looking at your website, looking at offline directory listings. Google Business is a big one too. Backlinks, things like that. Those all go towards SEO. PPC is the next category, and these are the three main things that you're going to see for all digital marketing agencies. What they spend their money on is the second one's PPC. So PPC stands for paid per click. That is a type of ad that's sent on Google, Facebook, Instagram. We at Right Order Marketing, we specialize in Google ads. Next one over here is going to be retargeting ads. So retargeting ads, those are when you, I guess how to explain this story. So if I'm looking for shoes or something like that, and I go to Adidas or something, and I'll go on their website, they have on their website, they install, it's called a meta pixel. It's basically a line of code on their website that tracks, the visitors that go on the website. And then from there, it gets stored in a database for about 180 days. And then they feed that database to Facebook and Instagram. And basically, when you go on social media, you're going to see ads for Adidas now. So we could do the exact same thing for flight schools as well. We can put a meta pixel onto their website. So people that have seen the business, know the business, but they didn't convert for whatever reason. they go on their social media. Next thing you know, their flight school is showing up left and right because they have that retargeting ad. So that's really, I like this type of ad, especially because whenever we don't close a student, whatever a student doesn't decide, we want to stay fresh in their mind, right? We want to keep it going. And you know, being relevant, having that attention sent to your business, to your flight school really helps with that. And I think retargeting is a great way to do it. So now we break it down by month. So if we're spending, if our goal is $1 million, we're spending $100,000 for our marketing budget online. How much of that do we need to spend per month? As next question. So for $1 million, you should be spending about $3,000 for each month on SEO, about 4,600 for PPC, which is your Google ads, and then display and retargeting about $500 a month. So that's really the whole budget allocation kind of spreadsheet that I want to share with you. And I think it's a really powerful tool. It's available on the chat, and just copy for yourself. So that really answers the question, you know, what our goals were for 2024, how many leads do we need to get there, and what do we need to do to really get those leads, you know? And it's, in this webinar, we're not going to dive into all the specific channels. We have other webinars for that where we're going over to say SEO. But we will in this webinar, because I do have a few minutes still. I want to probably finish at 2:30. I'll try to do 7 minutes. We will go over some strategies, some overall big picture stuff that on a later call, we'll also kind of dive in, be more specific. So let's talk about the marketing strategy here. So really, there's 3 aspects of the strategy that we need to consider. You know, getting the leads, maximizing that conversion, and also maximizing our results. So each part of that triangle here has different avenues that we can try. So for driving leads, it's really about, you know, your organic SEO and your page search, and then database. So what's that mean by database? If we've been in business for a year or 2 years, we most likely have a database full of contacts that may have reached out to your school at one point in time, didn't convert. And most businesses don't do anything with that database. And the marketing term for this is called database reactivation. It's looking at that database of past contacts and reaching out either via email, via text, saying, hey, we have an offer, doing discovery flights for $50 or $100 the season, or hey, we have a discovery flight that goes to the specific attraction. Maybe you have like a, you know, in St. Louis we have the Arch, but a lot of times we don't focus on that database part. So I did want to bring that up. The next part is maximizing conversion. So it's what we have online to maximize our conversion. You have our website. So is our website really built for conversion? That's, you know, having the right call to action on their website, having your phone number displayed on there, reputation, looking at, you know, do you have good reviews on Google? Do you have a Facebook, social media? Is that tuned for your ideal client, for your ideal customers? Then automation too. So are we sending text to our customers? Are we sending emails automated, like a newsletter to our emails? And last one is optimizing results, really. So looking at our return on investment, making sure that we're spending the right things in the right places, making sure we're driving that average cost per lead down, and we're able to reduce our total spend. That's part of optimizing those results. So really just want to take some time here, just a minute or so. And those are 9 different kind of concepts in our business we need to kind of solidify, and really just think about, you know, I like to call it the traffic light pattern, like the red, yellow, green. And each section kind of mark where I am. Maybe I do have great SEO. Maybe I'm already doing paid search, but I'm not doing anything with my database. So I have a green, then maybe a red for my database. Maybe I have a great website, but I don't really have many reviews. Maybe, you know, that might be a green, yellow. I have no automation, red. And for spend, you know, I'm not spending any money in marketing right now. I don't know what my average cost per lead is. I don't have KPIs drilled into my team. I don't have these reportings built out. Then in that case, this might be red all across the board. And the reason we do this is really to understand where we are in our business and how that affects our results. So I will kind of dive into a little bit. Got 5 minutes. SEO. So we're going to get some technical stuff here for SEO. So, make sure that you have pages for each service. For all your cities and municipalities, make sure you have titles, H1, H2 tags set up, unique content for all pages. This is ongoing content, another big one. Make sure you're pushing out blog posts every month through your website. Google Business and directory listings, making sure that you have you've claimed and optimized your maps. You also have submitted your business to data aggregators. That's like so Yext does a really good job in doing this, but I think for this, like Foursquare is a big one. There's a lot of aggregators that go to different directory listings that they can go to. Last one too is having a system in place for driving online reviews. So after someone does a check ride or after someone has their flight exam, do you have a mechanism where you like ask them for the review? Because that's probably the best time just to ask for a review is actually on after the check ride. This right here is the kind of plan, your branding. So if you don't have a place to start, you start with your organic foundation. That's your website and your SEO. From there, you kind of go up the triangle as far as how much spend you have on marketing. The next one would be your paid search, just your Google ads, paid directories, pay per lead. And then finally, you go into this Facebook, TikTok stuff. A lot of people put all their money in the top without laying the foundation down. And that doesn't really drive leads because, they'll see your ad on Facebook, then they go to your website, they see that there's nothing there. They're not going to convert very well. So making sure that that's in place helps a lot. So we really got to start with the website and with the SEO. Do want to put a small tidbit about pay-per-click campaigns. So how to set up a pay-per-click campaign. Most people only set up one ad group. So you need to have multiple ad groups. Whenever you run a campaign, we have about 15 to 20 different ad groups for one business. That's going to be talking about, flight schools per area. What happens is they just do like the smart ad, whatever. And then that doesn't really optimize for the best conversion rate. One last thing too here is there's also no strong call to action or offer, both on the ad and also on the landing page. So whatever landing page you take your ad clicker to, they should have a great offer on that page. Otherwise, it's not going to convert. Talking about conversion, there's a big slide, and I'll send this out in the notes. But really, it's about these are things that you have to do in order to convert and enhance conversion. So, I like the basics right here, having your phone number in the right-hand corner, making sure there's a form that visitors can fill out, having authority. So when they maybe you're in the AOP Best Flight School of 2014, put that out there, if you're part of the NBAA, if you're part of Fasana, add those things in there to add credibility. Make sure you have clear call to actions on each page that speak to your ideal customer. And really that's kind of going down to your market, like you have your market, you have your message, you have your medium, right? Those are the three M's of marketing. Defining who my target customer is probably one of the biggest things that people forget to do when they start marketing their business. So last one, site speed, make sure it's fast, and also automating things with phone via SMS texting. All right. So we're going to wrap up here. What we kind of covered is, setting clear goals and targets for the year, making sure that you align your KPIs to match, match this model here, whether it's driving leads, optimizing results, maximizing conversion. We're looking at our different plan for 2024. So we have using the spreadsheet, we kind of have a great idea of how much we need to spend to achieve our goals. And the thing is too, the reason why this is really important, a lot of people have these goals of, I want to get 100 students in my flight school, but they never really looked at how much that would actually cost, what steps they need to do. And I hope this spreadsheet helps out a lot in planning for 2024. And last one, we went over some trends over digital marketing, things like, your ads, SEO, things like that too. So kind of want to look at here again, the traffic light pattern, the red, yellow green. I would look at the ones that are red for you, and then I would focus that on that the most. So, I guess I'll open up the floor. Does anyone have any questions or anything like that? I guess not. Okay. So really appreciate you guys hopping on the call, and then we'll see you guys next time.